Right, so today's presentation comes from Marcos Ruiz. He runs a ghostwriting agency that does just silly numbers, right? I don't even know, like the revenue is just like, we don't even need to talk about the revenue. Let's just say it's a lot. One of, if not the best ghostwriting agencies in the game. Like most people can't touch Marcos. So it doesn't matter what niche you're in, whether you want to be a ghostwriter yourself, whether you want to go the coaching and consulting route, like you are about to get a masterclass on monetization.
CEO of the Birdhouse. We build, scale, and monetize personal brands on X and LinkedIn. I started my agency kind of when ghostwriting became a thing back in 2022. And I was originally a freelancer, like I'm sure some of you have been. And then I built up my agency one hire at a time. We have a team of 5 now. And yeah, we are the minds behind many of the big accounts you guys see on Twitter. So that's the goal of this presentation. And we're going to go through it, how you're going to build your personal brand to attract clients, and then how you're essentially going to apply that to your clients as well. So the first thing we want to talk about are your content pillars. And this is really the kind of meat and potatoes of your personal brand. I see a lot of people talking about content, and I kind of developed what's called the pesto pillars. And these are really the 5 content pillars that not only would you want to put out for your clients, but for yourself in order to not only attract clients, but also to build a personal brand that's long lasting. So we're going to go through the 5 right now. So the first pillar is personal, and this is the P. Personal tweets are anything related to your story, your background, behind the scenes, family life, etc. This is what's going to build the personal in that personal brand. And I have some examples here. Many people you may know. Did JK give a class here yet? I know he was maybe giving a class. Okay, so you know JK, obviously good friend of mine. We have a podcast together. I actually convinced him to post a lot of this personal stuff. But this is really the core pillar, and there's a reason it's the first pillar. You want to make sure you're building a personal brand and not just a brand. Especially in 2024, people resonate with people, and this is probably the most important brand when it comes, or the most important pillar when it comes to building a personal brand. So again, this is your personal stories, behind the scenes, etc., family life, vacations. You actually want to be posting this stuff because what it's going to do, it's going to put a face on your brand, and people are going to ultimately buy from people that they like and people that they resonate with. And you want to be putting this stuff out. Otherwise, you're going to get drowned in a crowd of people writing case study threads. And I did this and I did that and I did this. But if you don't have a face on your brand, you're never going to resonate with anyone. So make sure you're including this. Pillar number 2 is going to be expertise. So expertise is really the meat and potatoes of building authority. So when it comes to authority, and I put some 2 stars here, but these are some of the different kinds of tweets and threads and content you're going to want to create. It's going to be how-tos, frameworks, listicles, mental models, etc. And the reason I put these stars here, there was a study done, I believe it was between December 2023 and January 2024. The 2 highest performing types of text-based content on the internet are how-tos and listicles. This is indescribable across blogs, SEO, everything. How-tos and listicles are the top 2 performing pieces of text-based content. And then apart from that, it's all different types of video that outperform them. So those are really the core 2 that you want to be focused on when it comes to expertise content. And I have some examples here from more people you probably know: Dan Go, Cody Sanchez, Jeremy Moser, partner of mine. These are really going to be your how-to, your 5-step frameworks, your mental models for how people can implement the expertise that you have. So if you're a writer, how to, one that I did in the past was how to write headlines. You could do how to write hooks. You can do how to do this, how to drive X result. One thing that I'm usually doing is how to make money on X, how to actually make 100K a month on X, how to actually write content that makes money on X. So these are going to be your how-tos, and this is how you're going to be showing people that you're the expert. Pillar number 3 is going to be social proof. So this is the other part of authority that a lot of people miss. And I'm going to get into this a couple times. You actually have to get results to have social proof. I know a lot of people don't talk about this, but getting clients is one thing, but keeping them is really the main thing. So this is where you're going to be posting the social proof that you have: case studies, client wins, testimonials. And if you don't have any clients or case studies or testimonials, you need to be finding every little thing that you could possibly put out there for a case study or a testimonial. So for me, when I got started out and I had 2,000 followers, 500 followers, 3,000 followers, I was putting how I gained those followers. I was putting how I was writing the content that got me this result. And I was slowly building up incrementally better and better case study. So what I like to call it is really, it's case study arbitrage or case study stacking. You're essentially, your entire goal as a writer when you first start is to build a case study or a client win or a testimonial, and then use that to get another client. and then you use that client to get a better case study, and then you use that case study to get a better client, and so on and so forth. So you want to be case study stacking, and this is how you're going to get bigger and bigger clients, higher and higher paying clients, higher retainers, and eventually rev shares and all sorts of big deals that I'm sure you guys have talked about. So this is really one of the cores of how I was able to get clients. And I'm going to talk about this later in the presentation when we talk about inbound lead gen. But social proof, extremely important. I got a couple examples for you here. Next is going to be trending. And these last two are really pillars that no one talks about. And that's why I think it's important to know. So this is going to be trending. The trending pillar is how you're going to be taking advantage of SEO. I know a lot of people on here probably get frustrated. They write content, it doesn't get any views. They put out a video, it doesn't get any views. Well, one of the ways you can combat not getting views is taking advantage of search engine optimization. So, what's trending in my industry? What's trending in the industry? What's a popular topic right now? So, I've gotten some examples here. I don't know if you guys were around when ChatGPT first came out. I know I was, but everybody was writing ChatGPT threads. It was everything. It was the easiest possible way. I think I gained like 4,000 followers in the ChatGPT era. And it's because you're taking advantage of what's trending because it's going to have the most organic searches in terms of content. So not only for you and your clients, but you want to be writing ChatGPT, AI when that's popular. Or when Apple Vision Pro came out, you write Apple Vision Pro things. Or when this, I don't know if you guys saw the Mark Zuckerberg thing where he came out and was doing this like weird robotic thing at UFC. But if you guys know anything about Jesse Pujji, he's one of the biggest accounts in probably the SaaS space. Even he is taking advantage of the trending pillar. So really important. So you want to ask yourself kind of what's trending in my industry? What can I look for that I can take advantage of right now to get those organic impressions? And one practical thing you can do here, and I think Alex Hormozy talks about it, is essentially write down like 3 or 4 of the pillars that are kind of in your industry and just Google them. So for me, it's fairly easy with Elon Musk and Twitter. It's fairly easy to Google it and find one of 1,000 articles bashing it. I can just pull up any one of those articles and give my opinion on it or write about it or talk about it. And I'm going to get much more organic reach than if I just write about anything else. So taking advantage of the trending pillar, really important for not only you, but also your clients, especially when you're smaller and you're trying to get those, you're just grinding for those impressions, you're grinding for those followers. So really important pillar. The last pillar is going to be opinions. So this is probably the second most important one when it comes to actually building a personal brand. You want to be giving your honest opinions on things in your industry. So one thing that people don't talk about enough is what they actually think about certain topics. What makes you different? What is your personal opinion on your industry? So one thing that I talk about very often, everybody, especially last year, everybody was hating on writing kind of viral threads. They would call them platitudes. So one thing that I came out and took a stance on, and you really want to draw a line in the sand, and I took a stance on is you should talk about platitudes. You should do viral frameworks, and you should do what's proven to go viral. And then the caveat to that is that you add your personal experience, your personal touch to it. And I even added examples here where it's like you can Google, top 10 books or something like that. And you're going to see a video from Alex Hormozy, Iman Gadzhi, Patrick Bet-David. Every single big person in the industry has made the same video, but they added their own unique spins to it. So that was kind of the opinion that I came out for. I got another one here. If you know Nick Huber, he's kind of known for almost every tweet's an opinion. But it's one of the ways he's been able to build such a massive audience. And what it does when you put an opinion out there is you're drawing a line in the sand and you're basically saying, hey, to the audience and saying, if you agree with me, you're going to like this and you're probably going to follow me. Now you're going to be on my side. You're going to join my audience. And if you disagree with me, you're going to be in the comments and you're going to be doing engagement and you're going to be helping me get more reach. So it's a win-win situation. So it also could be a little bit dangerous. So you want to be making sure that you're putting out actual honest opinions, things that you actually believe. You're not just trying to engagement farm, because quick way to destroy a brand is to put out an opinion you don't actually believe in, and then you just get canceled or something like that. But if you actually believe the opinion, then stand your ground. So be careful with this one. Okay, so that was the content pillars. Now we're actually going to get into how to make money. So inbound lead gen. I don't know if I need to say this, but inbound lead gen is people coming to you. Outbound is you going to them. Just putting it out there. So I really separate this into the core 4. Hand raisers and CTAs, so call to actions. Social proof and expertise, which are the 2 pillars we just talked about. Profile optimization, which is pretty important, but not that important. And results, which is the most important. You actually have to get results. And I'm going to keep saying that because you can do everything in this presentation, but if you suck at writing, you're not going to you're not going to do anything. You're not going to get any clients. You actually have to slowly build your skill. So that's important. So I have some examples here of just like these are one thing I wanted to do in this presentation, and I noticed a lot of people doing these presentations is they talk about what they're doing now, but they don't talk about what they did when they were coming up. So I went all the way back to literally my first month in business to what I was doing to actually build my first 10K a month. So this is in 2022. Some of my tweets that actually generated leads, and I ended up finding the lead that was generated from the tweet. So I wanted to put out these examples. So these are just examples of some social proof that I was putting on the timeline in 2020. So you can kind of get a feel for like, okay, well, Marcos, you're the birdhouse. You have, a whole team. Obviously, you have huge results. It's easy for you to say, well, back then I only had $1,000 a month client, and I was just trying to scrape together any testimonial I could get. So back then I was able to leverage and do what I said in case study stack and make some of these testimonial tweets. So like my client before me, my client after me. And then another one was just some screenshots. I know it's hard to see, but they were basically just saying that they sold 30 units on Black Friday. Very basic stuff. And when I say you need to grind for the testimonials, I'm serious. Like anything your client says that's good needs to be on the timeline. Like you don't have much to work with, so work with it. Anything you do that's good, put it on the timelines. Really start to build that social proof portfolio and start to create a evergreen folder of testimonials and social proof because it really does stack. And I had a example of recently someone reached out to me. I had made him an offer maybe a year ago, and he reached out to me a year later and said, "Hey, does that offer still stand?" So just an example of kind of stacking your offers. But yeah, this was the message I got. I was like, "Hey, saw you're doing Twitter marketing. Wanted to see if you could if I could benefit from your wizardry or something like that." It was a little bit of weird, but this was the inbound DM that I got. So this is an example of a hand raiser. Again, this is the hand raiser I did in like 1 month into business. My hand raisers look a little bit different now, but I wanted to show you what I actually did back then. Looking for 2 to 3 CEOs who want to take their Twitter to the next level. Hands free, done for you. And I just posted a screenshot of these vanity metrics that had nothing to do with money at the time. But this is what I had to work with. This is all I got. So I think the client had like 4 million impressions before me, and I got him to like 6 million. You just got to take advantage of what you did, right? So this was the hand raiser I did back then. Nowadays, it's more like, hey, looking for X amount of education businesses that are doing 6 figures a month, and it's much higher level, but everybody starts at the beginning. So I wanted to grab this hand raiser that I did way back then. And what I mean by hand raiser, by the way, it's just any tweet where you are literally putting your offer on the timeline. You're just saying, hey, I'm looking for this person, and this person who wants to get this result. DM me. Super simple. Don't overthink it. If you don't put any offers out there, you're not going to get any leads to you. So I wanted to give you this example as well. And then these are just some more examples of inbound leads and referrals that I got from stacking my social proof, posting hand raisers and call to actions. One that I did here, I actually said I made my offer in the hand raiser and I said, DM me keyword tweet if you're interested. And he said, tweet. And then this is what I said. And you're going to get access to this so you can kind of see the scripts and what people are saying. But this person DM me. Here's another one. Hey, just saw this is actually my favorite one. And I'll talk about this in profile optimization, but it was essentially somebody said, hey, I'm just reading your pinned thread, looking to fire my current ghostwriter. You want to make me your next case study? So this wouldn't have happened if I didn't have a pinned case study thread, a literal social proof thread pinned to my profile. And we'll talk about that again in the profile optimization. And then that fourth pillar that I was telling you guys about in inbound lead gen is really important, right? If you actually get results and you really start to build your network in the industry, this is what's going to end up happening long term. For me, like my business is probably 80% referrals now. So I have 2 examples here just from this past month of referrals that I got just from being known in the industry. So this is what your real end goal is when you're actually getting results. Eventually, you just become a referral only and you have way too many clients and you're at capacity and you probably either have to hire or you can go live a lifestyle business and move to Thailand. Up to you. So this is some inbound leads. Next, we're going to talk about profile optimization. So funny enough, I guess there's always levels, right? So this is my profile. This is actually my mentor's profile. So he's above me. His profile is even simpler than mine. So main things I want to talk about here, and the reason I put his profile here and why it's so good and so simple. Obviously, his bio says like the brain behind your favorite personal brand, scaling businesses to 8 figures, and his results speak for himself. But I want you to focus on one thing about this profile, and it's this right here. And this is really important when it comes to Twitter and when it comes to social proof on Twitter. It's the followed by. So who is this person followed by? 103 people that I know follow him. So when I click his profile, if he has 2,000 followers, 20,000 followers, one follower, 100, can't have one follower, but 103 people that I know follow him. So he has instant authority. If I didn't follow him, I would instantly be going through his profile, clicking him, etc., because I know that everyone I know knows him. So now he has instant authority. So this is an important one to think about when it comes to building authority on Twitter is how can you start to network with people? You guys have already done probably the most important step, which is joining a community. When I started, I joined JK's old community. It doesn't even exist anymore. I joined his community and I just made an engagement group with those people and we were tweeting at each other and we were building each other up. And that's how I really hit like 4,000 followers. And now all of these people followed me and we were all growing together. And think about this now, right? There's 35 people in here, 30 people. If you guys are all following each other and you guys are all then growing, and let's say you all collectively gain 2,000 followers next month times 30, that's 60,000 people. And you guys all follow each other. Now all of those 60,000 people can see on each individual profile that 30 other people followed them. So you slowly start to build that up. And that's how I built mine up. So this is what mine looks like, but obviously I can't see it from my own profile. I can only see it from someone else. So I made sure I brought that here. It's a really important fact. It's probably the most important fact about your profile. But when it comes to actual optimization, one important thing you need to do is you need to pin social proof. So pinned up social proof has been kind of one of my bread and butters for inbound lead gen. Right now, I have a kind of collage of screenshots like I showed you before of just November screenshots. And I kind of want to do this every month. But before that, what I actually did for the first year and a half of business was just a case study thread, the same case study thread for over a year. And what that does is when people click your profile, their eyes really work in two ways. Can I draw on here? Think I can. Yeah, I can. Got it. Let's see. All right, sweet. So when someone clicks your profile, and this probably goes for every social media, but specifically Twitter, they're going to click your profile and their eyes go here. So the first important thing you want to do is have a headshot. And I really only recommend two kinds of profile pictures. It's headshot like this, where it's just like straight on, super professional, or a candid picture where it's more like business casual, but it's candid. Like mine, this is at an actual business event. Or if you're speaking on stage or something like that, but most of you aren't. So a candid business picture like this, or just a headshot. You don't want to go, there's no in between. You don't want to be anonymous or anything like that. I know when I started, I had this AI generated picture, and that was because it was actually trending. It was brand new. Everybody was doing AI, but I switched to a headshot after that. So this is number one. So this is number one. And then their eyes immediately go here. And this is going to be number two. People are going to look at your profile. So your profile wants to be who you are, what you do, and what you've accomplished. And that can be more than just your bio, right? So your bio is one part of your profile, but so is your pin tweet, so is who follows you, so is your website, so is your location, and so is your highlights. So these are all part of your profile, and they all need to answer those three questions: who you are, what you do, and what you've accomplished. So for me, who am I? The CEO of the Birdhouse. What do I do? We build, scale, and monetize personal brands on X and LinkedIn. And what have I accomplished? You can see it on my pin tweet. If you click my highlights section, there's about 40 social proof tweets and threads that I've highlighted. And just a quick practical tip to highlight, you just click these three dots and press add to highlights. Very simple. So my highlights is all social proof. My pin tweet is all social proof. My website is all social proof. Very stacked with social proof. What I do, who I am. Very simple. So that's really how you're going to build a all-encompassing personal brand profile for inbound lead gen. Let me see if I know how to erase this. Okay, I can. Sweet. I'm sorry if you guys have questions, but I think we're going to do them at the end. So let's go to the next slide. Sweet. Outbound DMs. Oh, missed a guy. Sweet. So outbound DMs. So I actually found the original cold DM that I did to get my first ever client. We're going way back here. So there's really three types of leads you can get. There's going to be cold leads, warm leads, and hot leads. Hot leads are just inbound leads. So we're not going to talk about those for the purpose of this section. We're going to be talking about cold and warm. So you have cold outbound and you have warm outbound. And you might have heard this from someone else. So cold, we're going to start with that. So two tips on, I guess it's three tips. Tips on cold. Send as many as the platform allows. More so, send as many as your time allows with cold. This is one that's like, some people kind of overrate it and some people underrate it. So I'm just going to give it to you real. There's no number that you should do per day, and there's no like you're not going to get clients if you don't do them, and there's also no like you're going to get clients if you do them. I do them because I had the time to do them, especially when I started my business. So I just sent as many as I freaking could, right? But the most important thing is really consistency. It's a marathon, not a sprint. What I see a lot of people do is they kind of burn out right away and they'll go and send like 500 DMs and then they just won't send them ever again. But if you could be consistent and send 10 a day, 50 a day, 100 a day, 500 a day, if you're like 18, you can just be consistent every day and compound that. And it's much better than just blitzing it all up front and getting burnt out. When I started, I was sending like probably like 100 a day. And then I dialed it back really fast to like 25 a day because everyone was telling me you need to send like 1,000 a day. I'm like, that seems impractical. So, to say the least, I'm like, I'd rather send a good 25 than a terrible 100. But to be fair, what I always say is consistency is more important than anything. Whatever you can actually stick to is good, especially if you have no clients. You definitely probably should do cold. So those are just some like tips. Here's literally the first DM I ever sent. Not the first DM I ever sent, the first client I ever got with a cold DM. So this was my first ever client. I charged him $1,000 a month and he churned within like a month. It was like, because I sucked. I didn't know what I was doing. But it was basically, hey man, I had his name here. I love the data barrier breaking down with the name of his SaaS company. He had a data company. You're really closing the bat. You're really closing the gap for the little guy. I don't even know what I was saying. I was trying to be relatable. So usually what they say is, hey, compliment is what you put here is compliment. And then you actually offer them. So then I was like, hey, I'm reaching out because I wanted to see if you'd be interested in getting 10K followers in 10 weeks, which I had no business offering because I could not deliver that. This will help you become an online authority. If you're not, then it's all good. But if you're all at all curious, let me know and I'll send it over. He said, sure, I'd love to hear more. Yada, yada, booked a call, closed them for 1K a month. Insane low ROI. But what it was is my first client. And what I was able to do from here, and I might have a screenshot of this. What I was able to do from here is not only was he my first client, but I got my first testimonial in what the testimonial actually was. It was a screenshot of him saying that he got 7 trial subscribers to his data company. It was like the smallest little case study I could ever possibly get. And I tweeted out that screenshot like 400 times. But this is what I was talking about when it comes to case study stacking and social proof stacking. Means you really got to start somewhere and start with any kind of social proof and then put it out there. But this is a cold DM. You can use this script, by the way, and it's probably still going to work if you send enough of them. So yeah, there's that. And then this is just a couple of practical tools for you to use. When I started, I was using Phantom Buster. Phantom Buster is really good if you're going to use all platforms. Rocketbird is what we use now, and that's Twitter only. So I'm not sure what the split is here for Twitter to LinkedIn or anything like that. But Rocketbird's Twitter only. Phantom Buster is kind of all platforms. And these both have built-in CRMs and everything like that. I'm not going to go into the practical how to use them. They have tutorials on the website. But these are what I used when I was scraping leads. So what you want to do is just scrape the followers or scrape the subscribers of someone that's kind of in an adjacent niche to you. So what I started, I actually scraped the followers of Alex Hormozy and then just DM'd all his followers. And that's who that person was, which you can do with both of these tools. Okay, warm. So warm is actually bread and butter. This is what we do for our clients and we do for ourselves. So warm is really reaching out to people who are new followers, comments, retweets, quotes, and then lastly, old followers. Pretty much anyone that's ever engaged with anything from you in terms of social media is now a warm lead. All a warm lead means is it's someone who actually has some semblance of an idea of who you are. So if they liked your tweet or retweeted or commented, obviously they know who you are. A little bit. If they're a follower, they definitely know who you are. If they're an old follower, they probably forgot, but they might have not. So I put this little pyramid kind of in order if we want to reach out to. New followers are definitely the best because they're so fresh on you're so fresh on their mind, top of mind. You really want to reach out to new followers as fast as possible and then kind of in order all the way back. Old followers, I don't really do unless I really need to get some leads. There was a good quote by Cole Gordon. I don't know if you know who he is, but he's a sales guy. He said, I'd rather reach out to 7 new leads than an old 7-day-old lead. So you really want to be reaching out to new leads and not old leads. That's why I put it in this order. But this is what warm DMs look like. So for me, if someone follows me, this is actually pretty recent. This is 2024. Hey man, appreciate the follow. Was just checking your website. Super interesting. Never seen a X company before. And then he's like, oh yeah, man, blah, blah, blah. And then you kind of get into a conversation. I'm going to go into why I say this and why it's not super fleshed out in a script in a minute. But this is a very chill example of what a warm DM looks like. And you could just substitute out follow for like, retweet, comment, etc. on any platform. Very simple. Hey man, I appreciate it. And then you start a conversation. So this is where I'm very against the grain. I don't like scripts. I don't like AI. I don't like automation. I don't know what you've been taught in the past, and I'm sorry if I'm conflicting, but I prefer to just be a human and have a conversation and lead with value. So for me, it's like, hey man, appreciate the follow. Saw you're doing this with this company. Oh yeah, appreciate it. Like I followed for this. And then you kind of just talk about it and you slowly transition. It's like talking to someone at a bar. I don't like doing scripts because especially nowadays in 2024, people can smell it. They can smell if you're an AI. They can smell if you're doing this like script. I don't even respond to scripts on sales calls. I like more frameworks. But you really want to be a human when it comes to these conversations. So learn to have a conversation and lead with value. And only, this is really important, only reach out to people you can actually help. I'll be reaching out to people you don't think you can help. It's so much easier to sell someone when you're actually, you have conviction and you have confidence. And it's also going to really mess with your reputation if you really get like 4, 5, 6, 7 really bad results in a row. So it's important. Reach out to people that you actually think you can help. So if you're a writer, pick a niche and go after that niche and just focus on that niche. By the way, my niche is coaches, consultants, education businesses, just so you know. And you can check out my website, although it's pretty outdated.